Thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This is Colin Drew with your special movie review. That's right, not something that Drew and myself do a lot of, but we both had the opportunity to watch Captain Marvel on the day it came out, so we figured we'd talk about it a little bit for you guys, just so you can kind of hear our thoughts about it and kind of what we were thinking about it, where we think it lands and all that stuff. We saw it pretty early before a lot of you, so we're doing this as a separate podcast because I can't necessarily talk about things without being spoiler filled. I'm not good at keeping things vague, so we thought we'd do its own special episode.
Right. So you don't have to listen to this if you haven't seen it yet, or if you hate spoilers, you don't have to.
Or
listen.
you could do what you're supposed to do. You go see it, and then on the ride home, you cue this up, and you listen to us talk about what you just saw, and then you tell us if you hated our opinions.
Yes, fantastic. And what did we? How do we do this? Do we take off the top that how if we liked it or we didn't like it, or do we want to walk through the movie and then give like a review score? How do you want to do it?
Doesn't matter to me. I'm not really sure what the best thing to do is. Let's talk through it a little bit.
Okay.
I liked them. Not bearing the lead. I enjoyed the movie. I liked it. The first hour, 45 minutes or whatever of the movie, I thought it was horrible. I really did not like the whole, I don't know who I am. I'm having weird micro flashbacks and all that stuff.
Well, it's a 2-hour movie, so you hated half of it.
I hated half of it. But when I left going, all right, I'm ready for Endgame. But, man, the beginning of that story was horrible. It was the kind of writing tropes that we hate, where you start and then you backpedal the middle and then you tell the story in flashbacks. Man, I hate that stuff. Now, that being said, I don't know that I know a better way to have done that with the 6-year gap and the way they wanted to do it, and their quote-unquote reveal, that she's not a Kree. But it did not flow well. It wasn't real coherent.
Yeah.
Easy to follow, or any of that.
Okay. I also liked the movie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely get that it was slow in the beginning, and I would have been happy with a good old-fashioned, this is Carol Danvers as a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And
I wanted to see her Top Gun movie, is what I wanted to see.
Yeah. And then she crashes the plane, and then the alien captures her, the Kree guy captures her, and then they can flash through her training as a Kree, and then
that's if you're going to speed through anything, have it have been the Kree crap.
The stuff where she was on the Kree mission, because that was not action packed, that was really slow. I was a little lost.
Yeah.
As to what we were doing.
But you don't get the reveal that the Kree are bad and Skrulls are good.
Kree are good, Skrulls are bad. That's how what we think at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that I just don't. I think it would have worked better if they would have just told a linear story.
Yeah, and you also don't get the reveal of you're just a human.
True. But I mean, I still think we would have saw Jude Law being a bad guy from a mile away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Correct.
So yeah, that I think as just telling it as a linear story, who she is, she the awesome character, very female empowerment. I can see the little girls watching that and wanting to go as Captain Marvel for Halloween and being excited, and it was really, all that stuff was great. They just kind of glossed over some of the childhood stuff to spend a little bit of too much time with her as a Kree soldier, foot soldier, and I didn't think it was that effective, and it kind of slowed the movie down to a crawl. And then with the very jumbled scroll mind reading flashback stuff, you got glimpses, but I didn't like the fact that we didn't spend enough time on what seemed like very cinematic movie moments.
Yeah.
Now maybe that would have ballooned the movie to 2.5, 3 hours to do that. But I think that would have been really effective.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was, and that's, you're right. That's 45 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't look at my watch. Was it really? You think it was an hour before we got to the actual fun stuff?
Yeah, well, it's depending on where you think fun stuff is, because we hit 1995, and I'm just like, oh, I love this time frame, Blockbuster Video, and that was early on, but we were still convoluted and not great at that point, because she still got into it.
Yeah, she still did not know who she was,
Mm-hmm.
And had vague memories and saw herself in a photograph, and we had the de-aged Coulson and de-aged Nick Fury.
Seeing Coulson in this movie just brought joy to me. I don't know why. I just loved that.
Yeah, the audience was with you.
Yeah.
The audience was with you.
Do you remember the biggest cheer in the theater?
It was at the end, wasn't it?
Stanley.
Stanley got a big, his cameo got a big round of applause. But then we got a great applause for later, and we got and then one of the credit scenes got a big round of applause as well.
Yeah, very much so.
So yeah, there was some spontaneous eruptions of joy from the audience. Packed house, very nice.
Yeah, set some Thursday records or whatnot, I believe.
Yeah,
like 21 mil on a Thursday or something.
It's on track to
12, something like that. I can't remember.
On track to do 155, 160 over the weekend, which is respectable.
There you go.
It's a very solid opening, so that's pretty good if that's what it tracks at. But I think word of mouth is going to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe anybody would walk out of there and say that it was a terrible movie. So
no, not at all. I mean, I talked to several of my comic book people today, and I said it's worth the watch. You know, it sets the table nice for Endgame. I won't probably ever watch it again, though.
I don't know. Blu-ray,
maybe,
or Netflix.
Yeah, I just can't set me. No, I'll never watch this movie again.
Have you watched Black Panther again, or Infinity War?
Infinity War, I've definitely watched again. Black Panther, no.
I watched Black Panther again, as well.
1995 was probably my favorite part of this. Just the time frame.
Yeah.
Young Samuel L. Jackson. They were able to keep it very lighthearted, and it flowed well. I liked all that. Brie Larson is likable. When she's not Captain Marvel in this, she's pretty much worthless and inept through 80% of the movie, and then she's unstoppable for the rest of the movie. So,
yeah,
quite a transition there on that.
Can we talk about the soundtrack real quick?
Yes, definitely. Because that was part of the 1995 being so good.
That's Drew's wheelhouse of music.
There you go.
90s music is. I was working at a record store. I was record store manager.
Selling more singles than any other record store in Ohio.
Yeah, Satin Records, and the tunes that were on there were brought joy to my heart as I listened to their music playlist. It was really a strong soundtrack.
Yeah, we got some
a la Guardians.
Yeah, we got some garbage in there. We got, of course, some No Doubt in a very girl power cinematic fight sequence. I always like the inclusion of a nice Nirvana song in, although I thought it was an odd place to put that song. I was glad I heard it. Mm-hmm. It worked well in that instance.
Yep.
Yeah, the soundtrack was good. The time frame was good. The little digs to technology in 1995 and the Radio Shacks and the Blockbusters of the world stuff as well.
Some of the biggest laughs were 90s technology, a CD-ROM loading, using the fact that Radio Shack existed.
Yeah. Where can I find technological equipment? Radio Shack.
Yeah, I mean, they were just like the eruptions of laughter, really guffaws throughout the crowd. So that stuff really hit home. As did a lot of the humor in the movie hit home. We saw the movie, a group of 5 of us. We had Gen X, Xenials,
There you go.
millennials, all in our group, males, females, and for the most part, everybody really enjoyed it. I think one of our younger millennials in the group said something along the lines of the first part of the movie was cheesy and boring, but he still ended up enjoying it by the end.
Yeah.
So it kind of crossed some generational boundaries there, and united us as
There you go.
comics should.
But yeah, like the star of the entire thing is the Flurkin. That's the star of the entire thing.
Full disclosure, Kyle is a cat person.
Yes.
He loves the cats.
Yes.
So was half in the bag for that cat anyway,
Yes.
whether it was a Flurkin or not.
Which I knew was a Flurkin. I was well aware that it was the Flurkin.
Okay.
I was well aware that Goose was a Flurkin. And since we are a speculation podcast, the first cameo appearance of a Flurkin in the form of Chewie is in Captain Marvel number 7 as the cameo appearance, and 8 is the full appearance of the Flurkin or Chewie, who we're kind of transposing as Goose. So those actually already have been moving fairly well. You can get 20 for the set of 7 and 8 plus shipping. Those should be easy to find. So I suggest you go out and get them and flip them now, because Goose probably is the mainstay character that you come out of here really liking. And not a whole lot of people realize that Flurkins are a thing, and they were essentially invented in 2015.
Oh, so it's a Kelly Sue DeConnick run invention
Yes,
from her run?
I think that's who wrote.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put that together, so it was all new to me.
Yeah, while it's not technically Goose, we're kind of using it as Goose, and it seems to be fine. So people are clamoring for Flurkins, and you're able to find them and move a few of those. I'm not sure if they were high before this, but I just know that those are your first appearances, and you can get some money out of them. So they might be sitting in short boxes because they're not that old.
So we get to 95. We're in the 90s, listening to the music. They got the cars of that era, and
the nice Impala and
and we really kind of flip a switch, I think, and it becomes more of a fun action movie at that point. But we are still grasping for who she is. We meet up with her old buddy from flight school, and they reconnect, and that starts to. Is that when all the memories come back?
Yeah, that's pretty much the point where it flips, because within 5 to 10 minutes of that, we get the Skrull thing as well.
Yeah, and we flip on who's good, who's bad, Krees or Skrulls.
Yeah,
and having not read any of those stories, I had no idea what the deal was. I remember Skrulls from like Fantastic Four books, and they were always bad. So this was my first experience with a redeemable Skrull storyline, and it worked really, really effectively. I really thought it was really good and emotional, and you could really root for them. I thought that was a really cool touch. And then the lead Skrull, who you said was from somewhere. What else was he in?
He was the bad guy on Ready Player One that I just watched again.
Yeah, the owner of the bad corporation from Ready Player One. That's right. I can't remember his name, but he was really great. He had a lot of good comedic moments. Very strong. Samuel L. Jackson had some good comedic moments, as did Brie Larson, who I thought was amazing. I had a little problem with some of her running. She didn't run really well. Didn't run athletically in places, but then they fixed.
She's not athletic at all. So.
Yeah, I think they may have coached her up like halfway through the movie, because then she started running better in the later scenes. But in some of the earlier scenes, she did not run like an athletic superhero should. But yeah, it got better. And then she takes her, when we get to the point where she takes her power dampener off and unleashes the full fury of what Captain Marvel can do. Holy moly! Too much power, Kyle?
Yes, I talked about this, that I think she's a little overpowered. We're treating her as essentially Superman, which makes me kind of worried for Endgame, that we're essentially just going to say, go get her, Captain Marvel. Because it's weird, because they've depowered Hulk in the Avengers, and they've depowered, I mean, from what Kevin Feige is saying, that like she's going to end up being more powerful than current Thor. I mean, it's I'm not sure what they're going for on that, and if they're just going to have her take the lead and defer to her, based on some of the powers we saw in that last 10 to 15 minutes of her just flying through and destroying armadas of ships.
That was a great scene.
Yeah, it was a great scene.
It was a fantastic scene.
I worry about the fact that she's that good already.
But will it matter with someone with an Infinity Gauntlet on, with all the gemstones?
Yeah,
all the stones. I mean, I think the only way that'll come into play is if the gauntlet's off him.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that'd be really the only.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping we still have some stuff that goes a little more trickeration, where we need Ant-Man, or we need the Quantum Realm, or we need something like that, and it's not just get him, Carol. But we'll see.
But that was a great scene, really taking on the bad guys single-handedly, taking the ballistic bombs and reversing them all and blowing them up, and then going through the ship and taking the ship down and then scaring the bad guys away. That was just a great sequence, and I thought it ended well. And then we got a credit sequence, or a credit scene, that was, who was in it? We had Black Widow.
We had Banner, and we had Captain America. We had Captain America, Banner, and Widow.
And they were in Wakanda?
That or back in the tower. I think they were in the tower in New York.
Okay, and then they had the pager that we saw at the end of Infinity War, and was also played a part in Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And the pager had stopped transmitting, and they were trying to get it to start back up, and then cut to Captain Marvel showing up. I have no idea what happened, what she said, because the theater was so loud, clapping when she walked on board. So it was something like, "Do you know Nick Fury?" Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was. Do you know Fury or?
Yeah, and or are you friends with Fury? I couldn't really make it all out, but it was a really cool moment, and she really brought cheers in the theater, which I thought was really cool. And then we waited for the final scene, which from earlier, the Flurkin cat had
Goose
had taken the
Tesseract.
The Tesseract, yeah, which they were calling, what were they calling it? The light engine?
Yeah, originally.
The light speed engine originally, and it turned out to be the Tesseract. And then the Flurkin ate that thing, and then we got another pleasant.
We got some cat vomit.
Some cat vomit. Add a little hairball. Some levity to end the credit scene, and people seem to enjoy that as well.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. I would have made some different choices in the first half an hour, 45 minutes of the movie. so it was a little slow burn at the beginning, but I thought it really sealed the deal, closed it, and I really enjoyed it by the end. I thought it was a really good movie.
A lot of weird speculation that this was going to be a feminist crack over the head movie. I didn't catch a lot of that in this. It was definitely some girl power in there, nothing at all wrong with that. Wasn't any weird agenda in it. Well, I think Brie Larson said some pretty obnoxious things and dumb things that she had to walk back beforehand. The movie didn't have much of that. The only thing that really stuck out at all was the fact that they regendered Marvel to make her a woman in this, but I'm okay with that. I mean, it's a small thing. I don't know why they felt they needed to, but oh well. Other than that, it was actually you had almost unnoticeable.
You had to be really looking for it. I mean, there was like one scene where her friend said something like, "Call me young lady again, and I'll, bury this up your ass," or something like that. And,
and there was the flashback to Flight Academy, and you're like, you know why they call it a cockpit, lady, kind of thing.
Yeah, so they showed some toxic masculinity on display in a couple of areas. And called that out, but it was very. I didn't think
it was subtle. It was within. It was nothing that beat you over the head. They didn't stop the movie and give us a Gillette ad or anything crazy. So all in all, I think that's a moot point, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, the only thing that was weird is, Annette Bening did a great job as Marvel, but they of course changed the gender to make it a woman giving another woman her powers kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know the original, so it didn't bug me at all. I didn't even notice.
There you go.
That.
All right. Here's the big question I'm going to ask you, Drew. Where does this fall?
I gotta rank it.
You can give me a ballpark of where it ranks within the 20 odd Marvel films.
Yeah. So top half, I think.
You got it as top 10.
Well, if there's 20, then yeah.
Wow.
In the top 10 probably.
Okay.
But that's just because it's it's little recency bias.
Uh-huh.
I think a couple of the Iron Man and a couple of the Thors were not great, and a few of the Hulks were not great.
Well, there's only one Hulk that counts as Marvel. So Norton Hulk is probably my least favorite of all the Marvels, and then Thor 1 and 2 are on the bottom as well. And then, for me, Strange is down there, and I've probably got this down in that same range. Although I do have it as a good movie. It's not better than either of the Guardians, any of the Captain Americas, the Spider-Man. I even have it better than...
Spider-Man doesn't count.
How does Homecoming not count when it is a Marvel movie?
Oh, did they end up signing some kind of partnership agreement?
Yes, Tony Stark is in the movie, dude.
Right, I thought it was still a Sony movie, though.
No, that counts as a Marvel Cinematic Universe film.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would say like close to Guardians 2, maybe.
I have Guardians 2 better than Guardians 1, so I'm a little different than you on something.
Okay. All right. Well, I wouldn't do that. So I would say cracks the top half.
Okay.
Solid flick. Really good bridge between the two Avenger Infinity War and Endgame. I didn't know how they were going to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how it fit, and it really made a lot of sense, and so I liked that a lot. And they seem to have a plan, and it makes cohesive sense. So hats off to those guys again for pulling off another movie that could have stunk up the joint or could have been the dud, and really wasn't. And for me, there really hasn't been a dud.
Yeah.
So, I can see people not liking Doctor Strange, but at the time I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, it maybe doesn't stack up as well as some of the other ones. But it really hasn't been a bad one.
No, they've all been good, and even the worst, I think, are very good movies.
Yeah. Now if I gotta rank them with DC's, that's gonna be a challenge.
We're gonna have some difficulties there, but I know your 89 Batman's gonna be top on that list.
Well, yeah. But yeah, it's worth seeing in the theater.
See it in the theaters because it does set you up and make you more. Even if I know it's not possible to be more hyped for Endgame, but it sets the table nice for Endgame in my mind. just by a little bridging.
Yeah. And hopefully you heard the spoiler warning and you're not upset and sad and throwing your iPod at this point. Throwing your phone. Yeah.
Don't throw anything. We don't need that. But yeah, aside from the fact that she has a lot of powers and she is super dominatingly strong, that is the only worry I have for Endgame. Other than that, I'm excited to see Captain Marvel in with the rest of them.
Yeah, great supporting performances, but I think Brie Larson really was fabulous as Captain Marvel, and it's the first movie I've ever seen her in. I think I can't think of anything else that she's ever been in, so I was really impressed.
There you go. You didn't watch her in Scott Pilgrim?
Oh my God, who was she in Scott Pilgrim?
I don't know. She was in Scott Pilgrim. I can't remember what her character name was. She had glasses though.
Was she the girlfriend?
No.
The green-haired?
No.
Okay.
That wasn't her. There was another girl that was in there that she was.
Wow.
And then I didn't watch The Room, so I didn't catch her in that.
Yeah.
But yeah. All in all, good.
Good movie.
And of course, we invite all our listeners, if you disagree, you didn't like it, drop us a line and tell us what you thought, where you score it, where you have it. Did we miss some comic book continuity things in it that you want to let us know, or are pretty spot on?
Yeah.
Drop us a line on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Gmail account. All this stuff can be found at comicsfunprofit.com. Be part of our conversation for that. But we just wanted to make sure we got to you guys, had a little conversation with you about Captain Marvel, because it's rare I'm allowed to go out of the house and see a movie, and thought it was cool that we got to do this, and we thought we'd share it with you. So, of course, Goose was the big thing to take away. Remember your Flurkins, everybody. Remember them.
And fun cameos, the Stan Lee one and the Kelly Sue DeConnick quick cameo.
Yeah, Kelly
was
Sue
fun.
DeConnick on there. Yeah, very cool.
There was probably plenty more Easter eggs that I didn't catch on one watch, but I'm sure there'll be some cool articles that explain them all. I'm going to have to check those out.
There you go. So we appreciate you guys listening along with us. So for Drew and for myself, see ya.